Welcome to the Indie Corner. We talk about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Matt.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Thomas.
Today, people, we're back at again another episode of in the Indie Corner podcast where we're doing our Transformers More Than Meets the Eye series, and we're talking about Volume 3, covering issues 9 through 11, but also the 2012 annual. So I'm excited for this. Did I read all of it? No, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't. I'm slacking a little bit, but it's okay.
It's a lot of words. That's asking a lot of Mikey.
Yeah.
Right.
But look, we have Rebecca to explain it all to us. So Rebecca, take it away, right? And here's your shit.
All right. Can we see my slides?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's get started then with Volume 3. So we're gonna start off with the annual here. Different artists than usual. We got 3 different artists on this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we start off this annual with something straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon. So Ultra Magnus has been infected by nanocons. So using one of Brainstorm's inventions, some of the crew was shrunk down to fight them inside his body. As they're battling, the nanocons attempt to escape, but can only be stopped by Magnus smiling, something he hasn't done in centuries.
I love it. I love this scene. It's so fun.
So of course he does it.
That looks ridiculous. I'm sorry.
It's great. So of course he does it to save his crewmates, but he's really not happy about it. He says it's the most humiliating day of his life. And later, as he's walking around the ship, a bunch of people also give him shit for smiling, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
All right. So checking in with some of our other characters, we see that Chrome Dome is reliving a false memory and not a good one. And that's a byproduct of him poking around other people's memories in the past. We find out that Tailgate passed his Autobot test and he invites Cyclonus to his induction ceremony, to which Cyclonus doesn't respond. And while searching the engine room for Red Alert, the dead guy in the engine begins to talk to Swerve.
Right.
So back with Rodimus and Drift, they're discussing the speech Rodimus is going to give at Tailgate's ceremony, and Drift tells him to limit his use of the phrase "till all are one" because he's constantly saying "till all are one." We also learned that the ship's headed to a place called Crystal City to join the Circle of Light, which is just like knight ninja guys that Drift is kind of like associated with, I guess. And they're hoping to get a lead on the Knights of Cybertron from them. Then Magnus walks in and threatens to leave the ship because he was so embarrassed about the smiling situation and because, quote, Ultra Magnus is not supposed to be a figure of fun. Rodimus,
oh my God.
Rodimus tells him that it's good that he's loosening up and it's changing him for the better. Additionally, Magnus says that the ship still hasn't been able to contact anyone in Crystal City. Cut right before the ceremony, people are placing bets on how long into the speech it'll take for Rodimus to say "till all are one." Spoiler: it's about 5 seconds. Wait, my slides are being weird. Sorry about that. As the ceremony begins, we learn Ambulon is stuck in the med bay. Some of the bots that got ejected from the ship in issue 1 have woken up and started self-harming and have had to have their hands clamped to stop themselves from hurting themselves. Also, I didn't include this panel, but we see Cyclonus did show up to Tailgate ceremony, but he's like watching through the door, like one of those dramatic movies where there's like one empty chair, you know? So maybe he does care a little bit.
But he's a Decepticon.
Well, he actually makes a point a couple times that he's not a Decepticon. But anyway, as Rodimus goes to draw the Autobot symbol on Tailgate's chest, he gets possibly possessed and instead writes "Let me out" in Old Cybertronian on his chest instead. At this time, Swerves also calls Skids and the others, and they learn that the now alive robot stuck in the engine. So to add to their problems, the Galactic Council, who are just like some alien police force, they're not really that important. They show up and tell the ship that they're trespassing. They learn that the settlement they're headed towards has been abandoned, which Drift says is impossible. And Ultra Magnus legalezes the council into letting them visit the planet temporarily on religious grounds. We also learn Cybertronians weren't invited or allowed onto the council because they're known for being violent and constantly stuck in war.
Well,
Also, question: is this ship actually called the Benign Intervention? That's a dumb name for a ship.
I mean, it's written on this ship, so I'm pretty sure that's the name.
Why would they call a ship that? Okay.
Okay, Mikey,
Why
give
not?
me your top 10 or top 3 ship names right off your head then.
I don't listen. I'm. It is no. I'm not gonna give you my top 3 ship names because it's not. It's not the time. It's not time for that right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So back in the engine room with Swerve, or who's the should be dead guy, can't see and mistakes Swerve for Pipes. Swerve doesn't correct him and doesn't tell him that he's dead and lies and says he's in the med bay. He also confesses how guilty he feels about blowing Rung's head off, especially when he knew he shouldn't have taken the shot. But he didn't disobey Rodimus's orders out of fear or of retaliation. And this kind of triggers a more philosophical conversation. Swerve says he thought after the war things would be different. They're at peace, but he's not happy. Or says peace just takes time to sink in, but people like them may never feel inner peace again because for so long the only thing that mattered was survival. Over in Crystal City, it looks like a battle had taken place there. Drift is frustrated because he feels like he's done everything right, but they've still had a dead end in their quest. He stabs his sword into the ground to see if he can get a sense of someone there, but the ground collapses beneath them. Over on the alien ship, Ultra Magnus was teleported there. The alien tells him that he's a legend among the Galactic Council and to all law enforcement in the universe and makes an offer for Magnus to join the council. After falling, the crew discovers they landed on a Metro Titan, which is just a city-sized transformer. According to Drift, they had the power to communicate with the divine, and they decide to explore and head to the Titan's brain. I think one of my slides got deleted here. Cyclonus says he hasn't seen a Titan since he used to pray by one in the olden days, and Rewind asks him to recite the creation story if he still knows it. So then we get this really cool Jack Kirby-esque art to go along with the creation story he tells.
I remember seeing this. I thought it was a really cool touch to it.
Yeah, the style here, I think it looks really neat.
That crackle, that Kirby crackle.
Yeah. Okay, so the creation story is basically that there was like one god and he split into 5 guys known as the Guiding Hand. Eventually they battled each other, and by the end most of the gods got turned into various like franchise MacGuffins. But out of that battle were born the Knights of Cybertron. Ratchet, who's a raging atheist, says that story is nonsense, which pisses off Drift, and the two almost get in a fight before being stopped by Rodimus, who asks Chrome Dome to tap into the Titan's memory and figure out what happened at the city. So despite Rewind's protest, Chrome Dome obliges and is immediately shocked by the memories of the same... shocked by memories of the same robots we saw fighting Skids when we first met him. This also causes the Titan's eyes to shoot out lasers which hit the alien ship. This prompts the aliens to place the Lost Light in a bubble that's going to incinerate the ship. So Chromodome says that when the signal got sent out during Death of Optimus Prime, which I touched on briefly if you recall that, the Titan tried to go home but couldn't teleport himself and is trying to kill himself in the process of going home. Cyclonus also reveals that the message on Tailgate's chest didn't say "let me out," it says "set me free," and it's causing all the weird stuff with the things coming back to life on the ship. Brainstorm says they can help the Titan by hitting him with his shrink ray, but Rodimus declines since since they need him big to get clues for their quest. Sorry, I couldn't read it for some reason. I don't know why. It's been a long day, I guess.
All good.
Back on the ship, Or and Swerve were talking about God, which they call Primus, in the afterlife. Or says he doesn't believe in an afterlife and that ultimately the only people who judge us are our peers and ourselves. And that Swerve feeling guilty means he's not a total scumbag. Just then, Swerve gets a call from Rodimus, and he wants him to tell Or that he's dead in hopes that it'll shock him enough to activate the engines and teleport the ship out of the bubble. Swerve tells him no and makes the choice to save someone rather than hurt him or hurt them. And with the ship's fate sealed and the council closing in, Rodimus makes the decision to save the Titan. Bramestorm blasts in with his Shrinkway ray, and everyone is magically teleported back on the Lost Light. So in our epilogue here, we learned that saving the Titan allowed him to teleport everyone to safety, including himself and Or, who's no longer in the wall. Rodimus makes a plan for once and decides to pursue finding the Circle of Light before continuing to find the Knights, since it looks like they may have been kidnapped. And finally, we discover that Magnus turned down the Galactic Council's offer, and that after the aliens said that staying on the Lost Light would mean changing into one of the crew, he just smiled. The end. That's our annual.
Wow.
I thought this annual was a lot of fun. I love the conversation with Swerve and Or. That was my favorite part of this issue. Other than we talked about the flashback art. I thought that was awesome. The Kirby-esque art. But
yeah, it's definitely a highlight in as far as art goes in the book. Like, I don't want to put down the other artists, but I don't really care for their styles.
Yeah,
at least
I
in
agree.
comparison to like the normal art.
Are there a lot of like other aliens in Transformers books?
Yes.
Yeah. Because that was new to me, because I'm just like, I didn't really, when you think of Transformers, you kind of just think that like they're the only that's considered alien like in like their universe, I guess. I didn't really consider there'd be other aliens around.
There's other guys out there. They're not really important unless it's like some crossover event or whatever, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Most well-known aliens in the Transformers universe are the Quintessons, but well, let's just.
I don't think they're here in this. If they are, I don't know about it. But getting back to the issue, like Matt was saying, I think the like philosophical stuff was pretty interesting in this book. Again, for a book about Transformers and being a toy ad, it's pretty
There's
interesting.
some good lore.
I got some more to say about some of this stuff, particularly with Rodimus in the next couple issues. That's been like spinning in my brain.
Right.
I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay, I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah.
I really liked that, you know, Swerve blew off Frog's head, and then he really had to like deal with that. And it's a thing. Like this robot had to process the I guess trauma of shooting off his friend's head, and that's crazy. I did not expect that from the Transformers book.
Yeah, like you don't really expect the a Transformer to like do something that's pretty human. You know, it's strange, but it's interesting. Like,
Everyone's a war criminal. Everyone has trauma. Everyone needs to talk about their feelings. You know.
Everyone needs therapy. I guess that's why Rung's here.
Yeah. I'll say this, right? Again, didn't really read this, but did look at the artwork. Loved the art. Thing is, like, the artwork's kind of iffy to me because I'm starting to get used to the other artist's style now. Because I could see it has improved a bit by the course of us reading it. This guy, whoever this guy is, I don't know how I feel about it. It's just, it looks cool, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's not bad. I kind of like. I have big nostalgia for like 2000s comic art, even though a lot of 2000s comic art isn't very good all the time. So I like the cartoonier styles, and I think that works especially with a franchise that's more or less made of cartoons. That's
true. I do think though the guy if the colorist was doing the main series, I think it would enhance the other artist's art. I think better than the colors they have for the regular series now. But yeah, the art looks good. The Kirby stuff I really like. That classic like 70s, like 60s, 70s type of style was really dope for like as a flashback to like explain that Transformers have gods and stuff.
I skip over a lot of the lore because it's kind of just like dressing, you know, it's not really integral to the story.
Yeah.
If you want the lore, it's there.
Seeing that those pages remind me of like, didn't Marvel have the license to Transformers back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, but it didn't look like that. It looked shitty.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it made me wonder, like, did they kind of look similar to this? But yeah, I guess not. I also do love the fact that, again, to talk about what I said last episode, the freaking Lost Light crew is just a giant fucking frat, and I love it. It's just they're all just fucking children. It's so great. The fact that they're just talking about, when is fucking Rodimus gonna say that one phrase in his speech, and they're making bets on that. It's so fun. It's a lot of
I
fun.
didn't put it in here, but I do love the like page though, where it's just all the montage of him saying that phrase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can really tell that like he is an Optimus Prime wannabe just because how much he loves speeches. Like it's great.
Wait, so Mike,
yeah.
you didn't read this issue, right? Or did you
No.
just like skim it?
I kind of skimmed over.
I
This is
I didn't include this either for the sake of brevity, but there's also a scene during Tailgate's thing where he's like, I remember when I got mine, and all he can remember is Optimus Prime saying his name.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's I'll reread it after this, but I mean it's cool. I didn't expect to like these fucking books, man. I didn't expect Transformers books to be this good. Okay.
I told you it was good.
Yeah, I've got two more quick things about this issue. I love Tailgate's relationship with Cyclonus. I got some like father-son vibes from this, or like Tailgate wants him to be a father figure, and Cyclonus is not interested.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I got, and I really like that dynamic. And
I don't know if I'd keep that in mind going forward, but okay.
Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. All right.
Do not keep that in mind.
Oh, do not. Okay, then I won't. I'll trash that. And also Ultra Magnus having his own little character arc in the background again. Like that wasn't super. His whole smiling thing and learning to change wasn't. I don't think super relevant. To everything else going on in the issue, but it's still fantastic. I love Ultra Magnus.
Mm-hmm. He's a fun character.
All right, Irie, ready for next issue?
Yes.
All right, so More Than Meets the Eye number 9. Back to our normal artist here.
I read this one. I just making sure you put out there. I did read this one.
All right. So back on pre-war Cybertron, we see two bots standing around talking about the growing Decepticon cause and social unrest and what it means for them, what it's going to mean for them when they look up and discover a body hanging above them. So 4 million years later in the present day, our crew is sitting around the bar. To help repair Rung's brain, they're going to tell a hopefully true story where some of their lives have overlapped. So we start with Chrome Dome and pick it back up at the crime scene. Back then, he was a forensics guy and partnered with Prowl, who you'll remember is the cop car over here. Mm-hmm. The guy who died was assassinated, and he was a senator named Sherma. And given that his body was marked with the Decepticon symbol, they believe Decepticons are behind this, but Prowl wants a full autopsy. Mm-hmm. From here, Drift picks up the story. Back in the day, he was in a dark place. He was an addict overdosing in the Dead End, which is just like a generic bad part of town, I guess.
Yeah.
A couple of guys come around and begin to rough him up when suddenly a familiar-looking hero cop named Orion Pax comes to save the day.
He looks so... I thought this looked so fucking cool. I was like, this is awesome.
So since Drift isn't looking too good, Orion takes him to Ratchet, who was in his prime doctoring days then, and was patching up the poorest of the poor, so to speak, on that side. Once Drift comes to, Ratchet tells him he's special and to go get his life back on the right track, a moment they both think about often in the present day. Drift said back... Sorry. I took these notes like 2 weeks ago, and sometimes I cannot read what the fuck I wrote.
That happens.
Drift said he told Ratchet back then that he'd get work at something called a relinquishment clinic. In present day, Tailgate asked what that is. The others informed that it's basically a service where you can pay to have your soul, spark, whatever, put in someone else's body. For example, if you turn into a car, you can go here and get put in a plane and see what it's like to fly. Now Ratchet takes over the narration where Drift left off. Him and Orion hear on TV that the lead senator, aka their like prime, has died. On the news, they say he died from a long-standing rust infection, but Ratchet notes that when he operated on the guy not too long ago, he didn't show any symptoms of that. Also in present day, we see Drift leave, as throughout the story so far, Rodimus has been texting him to meet him, basically. So Orion takes Ratchet with him to meet his nameless senator friend, basically just to have a witness to their conversations. The two think that a senator named Sentinel is behind the late Prime's death, as well as having something to do with the Decepticons. So back to Chrome Dome's point of view, him and Prowler are reviewing the autopsy, and I think it's really cool how their full autopsy is just like literally taking a guy apart.
Yeah.
They find a clue in the form of powdered glass, which can be traced back to one specific place, get a search warrant, and roll out to investigate. They go to this building where really wealthy people, including the dead senator, lived, and as they arrive, they see someone pushed out a window. On closer look, they see that the body was also marked with the Decepticon symbol. In present day, Drift meets up with Rodimus as they pull a headless red alert out of the ship's oil reserve. Rodimus tells Drift he's glad he showed up because it saves him the trouble of having to justify what he's about to do to Cyclonus, and that's the end of issue 9.
So good. I love this issue. As one who thoroughly read this issue at work, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. First off, I just want to mention real quick, like I skimmed over the annual, so like I'm in terms of like Swerve's, that moment where Swerve was actually regretting what he did to Rung. Isn't it kind of fucked up though that he kind of hid Rung behind the fucking bar with his brain dead ass? Like I thought that was hilarious, and I was like, dude, you were talking about how a moment of Swerve being so like, wow, he's acting like regretting what he did, but then he's going back to being a dickhead again by hiding his fucking brain dead friend behind the fucking bar. I thought that was hilarious. Okay.
I mean, I don't think Rung minded.
Yeah, Rung didn't care obviously because he got his brains blown out, but like that was really fun. But yeah, I like the fact that in order to bring fucking Rung back, they have to what's his name? Was it Rewind or Chrome Dome? I always forget which.
Chrome Dome.
They all look the same to me. Chrome Dome and like all of them to let's just go through a time where we all overlapped each other and it's gonna have a nice fancy presentation. And it was so cool. I thought it was really fun. Seeing Orion Pax, not gonna get used to saying that. That was really cool. The fact that Optimus was a cop. Look at that.
I feel like that ended up being pretty divisive, at least in the fandom, because you know how we feel about cops. But I
mean, listen, right? It goes the same way in Cybertron, all right? ACAB. But I thought that was really fun seeing him, and also I like his interactions with like a younger Ratchet, and all that, and like their interactions with each other. That was really fun. Listen, I'm a Drift fan. I love Drift. No, I didn't know it was I knew that Drift was a Decepticon. I didn't know he was a fucking fiend, bro. I was like, wow, look at that. Drift's a goddamn fiend. Like I didn't know that Cybertron had their own crack epidemic. That's insane. I think that's nuts. But I think it was what they called that their drug. It was like a cerebral processor. They just put it in their heads.
I didn't write it down. It was something like that.
Yeah, it was like a cerebral processor, and they put it into their cerebral boards or whatever in their heads, and it's extremely dangerous. I thought it was wow, Drift has been some shit. Look at this man.
It's a really neat idea. I like that. I guess the writer of this book, or it already existed, I don't know. I like that somebody sat down and thought, what are drugs for robots?
Yeah.
What does that look like? That's cool.
It was a nice little detail. This whole murder mystery, I'm liking that. I thought the first few pages where we see those two I guess Autobots talking to each other, having a casual I think they're having a casual lunch break. That was fun. Again, you don't expect this shit in a fucking Transformers book, but the fact that
the writing's gonna just wow, who would have thought?
Exactly. But the fact that they're having this nice casual lunch break, having some laughs, and then it ends up with this fucking dead Autobot body just hanging over them, and it's this got dark so goddamn quick. And the fact that to make it even worse, that bot that was talking was literally drinking this man's fluids this entire time. I was like, wow. But yeah, I thought this issue was really, really fun. and also that twist at the end with Red Alert, that was really like that. Again, we already said this before, that this book does a great job of leaving with the cliffhangers and keeping you like and grabbing you to read the next one. I forgot Red Alert was in this book. Again, very forgettable character, and it makes sense because they killed him off. So yeah.
Well, he's not dead yet. When was the last time we saw Red Alert? Do either you remember?
The last time we saw him was when he saw Overlord was in the basement. Well,
right.
Yeah.
He's the one that
like
found
left
Overlord.
a flash drive with Wrong's body, and then that was the last time we saw him.
Yes. Okay. I couldn't quite remember. Okay.
Because he was paranoid that someone was going to kill him.
And then someone did.
Yeah.
Or he killed himself, I guess.
He could have.
I don't believe that for a second.
Autobot can chop their own head off, right? I think that's possible.
Well, why don't we get into it with the next issue? Unless anyone has anything else they want to say here real quick.
There's a lot of world building in this issue, or at least world presentation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the flashback while they're on Cybertron, and they talk about all sorts of sci-fi stuff, and even just like Transformers politics, which is super cool, but I do not follow any of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try not to use the like sci-fi bullshit made-up words because I've done my times in enough fandoms saying all like the words. I'm not going to do it again. I'm 23. I'm past that, you know.
That's true.
I appreciate that.
That's fair.
I appreciate that.
All right. So issue 10. I really like this cover here too. I just think the like Art Deco style is cool.
I will love anything with Drift on a cover. So
that's not even Drift.
That's not Drift. Bro, these motherfuckers look the same to me. It's just okay. Whatever.
Like he sees a black, red, and white guy, and he just swoons.
It's Drift, man. It's just Drift. He suffered through the crack epidemic. Drift is a black man. He's a black man in disguise. Okay.
Okay. So we begin this issue in Prowling Chrome Dome's buddy cop story. Chrome Dome is chasing down one of the robots fleeing the scene of the crime from the last issue. However, the guy he's chasing is really bad at flying despite being a flyer and accidentally kills himself after running into an ironic billboard.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Why walk when you can fly?
At the crime scene investigation, Chrome Dome meets up with Prowl and Red Alert, who was a warden at the time. The person who was killed was yet another senator, and they discover a Decepticon shrine in his room. Prowl also determines that there wasn't one attacker who did this, but two, and a guy pops out of the shadows to attack the group by saying, "Death to the Decepticons." So in present day on the Lost Light, Rodimus has Cyclonus in custody with Drift interrogating him. Red Alert is alive, but barely. Ultra Magnus asks what Rodimus has charged Cyclonus with, and he responds that he doesn't have proof of anything, but since Cyclonus is the closest person to a Decepticon, he's the prime suspect, which Magnus disapproves of.
Ooh, he's profiling.
In the makeshift interrogation room, Drift tries to intimidate Cyclonus, but he's not having any of that and quickly turns the table, restraining Drift. Ultra Magnus and Rodimus break the two up. Cyclonus says he didn't hurt Red Alert, and if he wanted him dead, he would have finished the job and left the ship. Just then, Rodimus gets a call from First Aid confirming Cyclonus is innocent. Back in our story, the group is still under attack when suddenly Pax jumps out of nowhere to save the day and take down the attacker. Unfortunately, upon grounding him, their suspect dies. From all this, our heroes determined the senators weren't killed by Decepticons, but for being Decepticons. They also figure out the two criminals weren't in their original bodies, which is why they were so bad at flying, and plan to check out the nearby relinquishment clinics when Pax gets a call from Luna 2, which is like a prison. Mm-hmm. I just said that line. So Whirl was on Luna 2 at the time. He was put there by Pax after attacking a pre-revolution Megatron in his cell. When he arrived, he was given one phone call that he could use at any time, so he saved it for now to use to call Orion Pax there. With him there, he tells him that his senator friend's life is in danger. A cellmate of Whirl's mentioned Sentinel was going to make a move involving a bomb so big it'll take the name of the city it destroys and will be hidden in plain sight. Whirl also says he's telling Pax this out of revenge after the Senate abused and used him. Back with Chrome Dome, him and Prowl are at a Decepticon protest. They're protesting a registration act that wants the bots to register as Decepticons with the promise that if enough people sign up, they'll be recognized as a political party. However, as comic readers, I think we all know that whenever a registration act is brought up, it's probably not a good thing.
Never.
Ask Robot Man and Captain United States.
Chrome Dome thinks talk like this could lead to an insurgency. Prowl's not worried. However, Prowl says that if it did come to war, he'd leave the planet and hope that Chrome Dome would come with him. Next, they check out one of the relinquishment clinics looking for clues on where the culprits' bodies came from. As they investigate, they uncover a facility hidden underneath the clinic. This is the fabled Institute, and it's essentially a government facility where they brainwash/lobotomize citizens to behave. It's very dark. According to Chrome Dome, they isolate centers of memory and emotion, remove everything that defines you, and implant new patterns of behavior into you. And that it's a forbidden science they call Shadowplay, which is also the name of the story arc. Mm-hmm. While they're there, they also find a list of names organized by threat level that's revealed to be the same as the Decepticon registration list. So now we see Chrome Dome and Prowl meet up with Ratchet and his group. They're discussing what's going on. As they're discussing what's going on, Pax comes up with a theory. The senator behind the Registration Act ordered the murders of the Decepticon senators. After that, they find that the Decepticons, who are used to being scapegoats, innocent to spike registration. Later, they're going to detonate a bomb that Whirl warned them about and use it as an excuse to round up Decepticons and brainwash them. Finally, Pax realizes that they'll use the Matrix as at the Prime's funeral as the bomb, killing thousands and blowing up a religious landmark. And this leads him to one conclusion: they'll have to steal the Matrix. End of issue 10. So I know that last paragraph I said it was convoluted. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. So okay, the Matrix. Then you steal out of Nominus's chest.
Yes.
Which I know this is the next issue, but that is just like they're referring to the Matrix of Leadership.
Leadership, right? That's what I was going to ask. Okay. Thank you, Transformers too.
The fake one is actually a bomb, and but we don't know who is behind the terrorist threat yet, right?
Well, we know the government's trying to put like a CIA and blow up their own citizens for an excuse to round up a minority, basically.
Okay, got it. Oh, awful.
Very awful.
And we think that Autobots are the good guys.
Well, technically, these aren't Autobots; they're just like random guys. But yeah, the government is not good in this universe.
No.
Yeah, it's I'm getting some COINTELPRO vibes here. Not a fan. You don't know him? Okay, no.
I don't know. No.
Not gonna know your history. Shit. I'm not gonna explain it. Look it up. But it's but nah. It's listen, man. I'm not gonna say that Megatron was right, but Megatron was right. It's some fucked up shit. They're brainwashing motherfuckers. They're blowing up civilians and shit. It's too much. It's just. Didn't expect Transformers to get not only just so good, but just so goddamn dark.
There's an issue later in the series, and this is kind of a spoil. I'm not like spoiling anything, but this is just kind of like one of the themes. They have like this question of like, would it, like the war was really bad, but is it still better than what like would have happened if nothing had been done? Which is kind of interesting.
That's a really interesting question. I like that. I thought it was really neat to see Whirl specifically in the prison. I thought the scene with him and Optimus was really fun. I just like Whirl. He's just a fun character.
Whirl is the Deadpool of this comic, and he's kind of fun, like in terms of like his personality. He's just very chaotic.
I love how he saved that one call to call Orion now, because he's been in prison for a while, right? I assume. I don't know if it's said.
I don't know if they said. how long, but I'm assuming it was like a good amount of years.
And he was just sitting on it the entire time. I love that. That's really cool. It's neat to see Optimus. Because he's not really part of the book at all.
Yeah.
He's not like
No.
a character that we see.
Well, I didn't mention this when he first started the book, but I do like the idea that originally, like, he wasn't going to be in the book to give the other characters like time
they get more shine.
do their own thing.
It's really nice to see him. I also love his like like his cyber, like his design. I think it's really cool, and obviously like kind of an homage to like his truck design later on in Transformers canon when he's on Earth. But it's good stuff. I'm just gonna go through because I feel bad for not telling y'all what COINTELPRO is, because it's good stuff, and it reminded me a lot. This gave me COINTELPRO vibes reading this book. But COINTELPRO is a series of covert and illegal projects actively conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting domestic and American political organizations. The Black Panthers are one of these organizations. This is reminding me of his shit. It's fucked up shit.
It's definitely meant to parallel like the real world.
Yeah.
If you're looking for any sort of like critique on modern politics in Transformers comics,
they should put this in like political science classes, but they explain it with this Transformers comics.
Radicalized by the Transformers comics.
It's really cool. This was a really cool issue, and also again, as I said, I keep forgetting the artist's name, but his art is always improving each issue, which is I really appreciate it. Yeah, his art is improving each issue. It looks so cool. So yeah, that's all I gotta say on that.
All right. So our last issue of this volume, issue 11.
Cool cover. This cover's fucking fire. I love it so much.
Prime's doing a handstand.
Okay, is he doing a handstand or is he diving? Like, what is he like? What's the
he's supposed to be like hanging from the ceiling, but you can't see the hands, so you could pretend he's doing a handstand.
Nah, my hand. He's doing a handstand to assert dominance. This man. So
I'm just being snarky.
I assume it's a scene in the book, which Mikey would know if he had read.
Yeah.
perhaps
it's okay. It keeps you on your toes if you don't know what's going to happen.
That's true.
My reactions are genuine.
Though again, I will say, like, I'm doing this more as like a companion to reading the story, so you actually understand what's going on, since I'm just covering the plot points. But it's fine. You can read it whenever, or not read it. I don't really care that much.
I will. This shit's getting deep and dark. I will do this. I will read it.
I have
now
a
you're
theory about
invested.
this cover. Optimus Prime is secretly doing a trapeze act with his best friend, Roller.
All right. So with that, we'll start the summary here. So picking up shortly after where we left off last issue, Prowl tells Orion that he's crazy and won't be a part of his heist plan, but he'll keep his mouth shut if Pax leaves Chrome Dome out of it, and then he blasts off to somewhere else. So as the gang is preparing for their heist, the senator brings over some of his associates from Xavier's School for Gifted Robots. There's Glitch, who's this orange one here, who can shut down machinery by touching it. Wind Charger, who can levitate things. And of course, Skids, who's a super learner, meaning he can pick up new skills very quickly. Additionally, Chrome Dome is able to obtain an exact prop replica of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Though everything seems to be going well, this guy named Roller pulls Orion and Ratchet aside and says that the senator is kind of a sketchy guy. Apparently, he's been pouring money into off-world projects, voted for possibly unethical science programs, and has been suspended 5 times for emotional outbursts. However, this angers Orion, who says the senator opened his eyes to the problems in their society and that he trusts him. So in the medbay of the Lost Light, First Aid comes to the conclusion that despite being decapitated, all signs point to Red Alert's injuries being caused in a suicide attempt. This really upsets Rodimus, who feels responsible for all of his crew and talked to Red Alert not too long before this. Since Red Alert is technically still alive, but in a coma-like state, Rodimus thinks they should bring him back and that they can have a real talk then. However, Magnus and Drift thinks it's better to leave him as it is for now. So Red Alert is put in cold storage, and we say goodbye to him for now. And I want to talk about this moment later, but I'll continue with the story for now.
Okay.
Onto our heist, we follow the gang as they break into the basilica where the funeral is to be held. Using their talents, they take out the security cams, sneak past the guards, and shut down the detector beams. With things going smoothly so far, Skids lowers Orion via grappling hook so they can replace the bomb with a replica. Elsewhere, Roller, Chrome Dome, and the Senator are overlooking the heist when things start to go awry. On the news, they see the academy where the superpowered robots came from caught on fire when suddenly the door to their base is blasted down. Back with the group, Glitch, who's using his powers to keep the alarms off, is about to pass out, and Orion says it'll take him hours to pick the locks on the bomb, so they change up the plan to send Ratchet in. Ratchet's able to replace the bomb in time, but on the way up, he drops the bomb. Luckily, Windcharger is around and uses his levitation powers to save the day, and with that, it's a mission success.
Did he drop the bomb by accident because of his Cybertronian Parkinson's or no?
No, the like grappling hook like got stuck and jiggled. I put the page on here.
Yeah. But I just remember that he kind of fixed a problem with his hands. So
yeah. Well, this is a flashback, so this was before.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation between Ratchet and somebody else. I think in the first issue of the story, where someone's like, "Oh, Ratchet, your hands are so sexy," and Ratchet says, "Are you coming on to me?"
Yeah.
And they say, "Maybe." I think that's how that went.
Yeah, it was clever. That was
might as well have been that way. All right. So unfortunately, as they get back to their base, they're too late to stop their attackers. The Senator surrenders to save Roller, who's being held at gunpoint, even though he knows surrendering means having his mind altered, and he tells Orion to remember him as he was. As they leave, one of the goons attacks Orion, but he's able to save himself by throwing the bomb from earlier at him, taking out a police station in the process. Him and Crodome rush to the Institute to save the Senator, but in a twist, they realize that this building was just one of many centers like this, and the trail goes cold. Back on the Lost Light, Tailgate's like, wow, that was a great story, but whatever happened to that Orion Pax guy? And they're like, girl, that's Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Then the ship's alarms go off and they leave. And as they leave, Wrong starts to finally show signs of life after Skids intentionally mispronounces his name. Finally, to end this issue and this volume, we see what's become of the Senator. They're taking his hands, his face, and giving him a total personality inversion. According to one of the workers, by the time they're done with him, he'll be lucky to muster an emotional response to anything. And what was this guy's name? It's Shockwave, who's one of the higher up. He's one of the higher up Decepticons, and who will be a big bad for us later down the line as we get to an event comic. And so that's the end of the volume.
What a fucking twist! That was great.
He also turned into a laser pistol.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great reveal. Shockwave, that's one of the ones I know. So
Wow. Yeah,
I know that guy.
Now
yes,
exactly. A great idea. That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was cool shit. Okay.
Yeah, but if you do know anything about Shockwave in this continuity, he's like one of those, oh, I only do logic kind of guys, you know?
Okay.
Right.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. I love the heist.
This book does, like, this series, I guess, does the whole Chekhov's gun concept really well, because mentioning the inversion stuff last issue, it pays off in this one. That's sick. Yeah. I do agree, Matt. I would love a fucking Transformers movie of just them stealing shit. That would be so cool.
A Transformers heist movie? Dude.
Yeah, that'd be sick as fuck.
Maybe one day.
I'm such a sucker for heist movies, though.
Yeah, so am I.
Did you want to talk about the scene with Red Alert?
Yes. So not just specifically that scene, but I was thinking about this day, and it's been, like I said, spinning in my brain like a rotisserie chicken for the whole day.
Yeah.
So in this book, I've noticed that there's, and I've read ahead too, obviously, but there's like kind of a theme, an underlying theme of like powerlessness and like having to overcome that. Like a lot of the characters in different moments and in different senses will feel like powerless. And I think it's interesting with Rodimus that, you know, he's the captain of the ship. He's trying to find like they're like Knights of the Round Table or whatever. So he like obviously wants to be like the hero. He wants everyone to like look up to him and respect him. But along the way, he keeps making these like bad decisions. Like he's trying to do what's best for his crew, but he keeps making like the wrong call. Like he had Swerve shoot wrong. He was gonna shock the one guy to life and like to try and like teleport everyone to the ship. He couldn't save Red Alert, and you know, that's hard on him. Like you think Red Alert's like not actually dead. I don't remember if he comes back. I don't believe he does. I think he's like I think he's like I think it's more impactful if he is like dead. You know?
Yeah.
And so like he can't be the hero. Like he's not the one to save the day. In all these other situations, someone else has had to save the day. And I think there's something there that I can't quite articulate, but my brain's like gnawing on it a little bit.
And yeah, sorry, Fletcher, go ahead.
Well, Hot Rod's first sin is that he exists in the first place.
Okay, hot take, I guess.
Well, no, in his first appearance in the original Transformers movie from 1986, yeah, that guy caused Prime to die in the '86 movie. We don't think of him highly in the G1 continuity.
Well, speak for yourself, I guess. I know a lot of people don't like him. I don't have a problem with him.
I love him.
I'm just joking. I love Hot Rod. It's just I just wanted to say that just because I'm really tired.
I have no thoughts on him, but I kind of like that theory you got, Rebecca, and it makes kind of sense, the fact that he's looked up to Optimus Prime and like he reveres him. He wants to be him, but unfortunately that it makes him more interesting, where like he tries his best to like be that hero, but like he just can't do it. Like I think that's very interesting with this character. So, I mean, yeah, you might be onto something.
Yeah, but that's my little character theme analysis for the night. I don't really know that I have too much else. I really like how this arc is like structured. I think it's very fun, and I think, like Matt was saying, the world building, and it was pretty strong for a book where you shouldn't have to care about any of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I mentioned the heist. The crew that they were with for the heist, I don't have very strong opinions on, but like I think that's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have an emotional connection with everyone who shows up in this ensemble book, you know?
Right, no, of course. They're just bit characters that exist to help them steal the facilitate the heist, and like they served their purpose, and it was great. I just like seeing Optimus Prime, even if or Orion Pax, I suppose. That name, Orion Pax, was that created for this series? Did that exist before?
No, it was created before.
That was in the G1 cartoon.
That's from G1?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a dumb name, but you know what?
No, it is a dumb name.
That makes sense as G1.
Like every time we hear that,
they got the dumbest names going in this book, and that's the one you're like, no.
Like every time I hear the name Orion Pax, I'm just like, oh, it's kind of hilarious that his former name also starts with an O and also has an O and a P in it too. It's just fucking dumb.
No, yeah, I can tolerate Shockwave and Roller and Long Arm or whatever. I draw the line at Orion Pax. That's nonsense.
Orion Pax, though.
Their names can't be too badass, like Sinner Twin or Ruination. So you gotta fill in some bad names in there.
Those are names. Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I didn't read the issue, but like the fact that Shockwave twist, that's fucking dope. That's hard. Oh Lord, I like Shockwave. That's one of my favorite Decepticons growing up. So that's why I got a little giddy. But
it's the Astro Magnum.
Yeah. Also Soundwave as well. He turned into a boombox and it was hilarious.
I love Soundwave. He's one of my favorite Transformers.
But yeah, I mean, listen. Whoever owns the rights to this is still Paramount, unfortunately. Whoever owns the rights to Transformers, make a Transformers heist movie on Cybertron, please. I want that.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
They will never do that, but I second that.
Yeah, they don't know what good movies are. It's crazy.
Well,
but
they did make The Last Night, so
don't talk about it. I don't want to talk. I recently rewatched that out of boredom. Don't talk. I don't want to relive it again.
Why would you watch that if you're bored? That movie's boring.
Listen, I don't want to talk about it right now, but I will say this though. I forgot to mention. I think it was in issue 9. They did the whole Prowl joke again, where like there's a ton of fucking Transformers named Prowl. I loved that. Again, just a small banter that I wanted to mention. I thought it was really funny. But yeah, I don't got anything to say on this issue because I didn't read it, but I'm gonna read it now because of that fucking twist, man, and that heist. It's cool stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I don't have so much to say about this. I like this arc, but I feel like I like the next volume so much better. I'm just kind of waiting to get there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what this next volume is.
All right. I mean, do you still want to do final thoughts? Are you good? Is that basically final thoughts? Because I
think that's basically final thoughts. I think, like we said too, it's been like a long weekday, whatever, for all of us. And we're all kind of brain dead at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
At least we're doing better than Shockwave.
That's true. Yeah, at least we weren't brainwashed against our will.
Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about what you said about Rodimus, especially going into this next arc and the book going forward.
That's very interesting. Like that, I think that it's a really cool angle with his character, and it kind of makes sense. So, yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Also, art from what I saw in this, it looks good. Listen, this man's improving. I like this. And this page right here is probably the best the colors have ever been. I think. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I think the colorist is. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk shit on them, but like they look kind of flat to me. If they got the colorist from the annual to do these, I think it would really make art pop more. But I don't know. That's just me being a dumb artist. What do I know? But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
All right, then I guess we're pretty much done here then. So the next volume, volume 4, that covers issues 12 through 16, streaming Monday, October 17th, 2022. I'm saying 7:30. I think we should aim for 7:30. I know we started late today.
I mean,
we're only going to start later.
I mean, if it ain't broke, Rebecca, don't fix it.
Mikey, we're starting at 6:30.
No, we're not doing it. Sorry. I will put my foot down. I'm not starting earlier than 7.
No, Mikey, I'm telling you, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're starting 7:30. You're starting 6:30.
Oh yeah. Whatever. But no, it's a cool cover though. That's a really cool cover. Like that a lot. So I'm excited to get into it next 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So is that it? Do we want to close it out? All right. So as always, people, thanks for everyone who are watching this or will watch. We appreciate it. We actually got some people watching. We don't know who they are, but thank you for watching. So yeah, just look out for the next episode 4 in the next 2 weeks. That's gonna be a good time. There will be a clip of this episode coming out this week. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, just comment, like, subscribe. Check out all our other videos that we've been putting out. We've been grinding recently. And I think it's been paying off. If you don't want to check out this, if you don't like Transformers, which I mean, you should. But if you like, like people fucking and orgasms that stop time, we also got Sex Criminals that we're doing right now, which was very fun and one of the most hilarious podcasts I've ever fucking done. So check that podcast out. Also, we have a bell. Ring that bell so you know so you're notified when our video drops. Because we make good shit. Is there anything else I should mention? Anything else? I don't know anything else. I think that's pretty much it. So that's it, people. Do all that shit I told you to do, and as well, just get home safe and have a good one. All right, see you next time. Bye bye. And